Welcome to She Speaks by Atleta Filipina, our conversations with Filipina champions, co-presented by Medical Advance para sa dysmenorrhea na malala, lala to wala in as fast as 5 minutes. We want to have candid conversations with our athletes on their struggles, wins, and secrets to excellence that will inspire everyone to push limits, rise stronger, and win their own battles in life. I'm Bigo, your host. And to introduce our guest for today's episode, she is the first Filipina Olympic fencer and she made her debut in the 2024 Paris Olympics. After winning the Junior MVP trophy in the UAP Season 82 with the UE Junior Warriors, she was recruited to Penn State University, which competes in the US NCAA. In her freshman year, she immediately qualified for the NCAA championships and placed third with an All-America selection in the women's foil. She has been representing the Philippines in the SEA Games since 2017 with 1 gold, 3 silvers, and 2 bronzes under her belt. Let's welcome Sam Catantan. Hi! Hi, Sam!
Hello po. Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you also for joining She Speaks. And to start the podcast, we usually start it with like a fun, uplifting question that is just made for you. And my question is, after your, apart from your sporting event, what other things would you do, or are there places you would explore during the Paris Olympics?
So before Paris, we actually went to Metz for a training camp. And I've been to Paris before for a training camp, so I've visited a lot of places already. But I definitely just wanted to like go around and like walk and eat, especially at that time we had to kind of like be smarter with like the food we take, but yeah.
Oh, so bawal pa yung mga croissant
Bawal masyado, yes.
until after na lang when you celebrate your after yung event mo, no? Ayun, so congratulations also for making history talaga for many Filipinas, especially in your sport, for being the first Filipina fencer to compete in the Olympics, and also the first Filipino fencer since 1992. Ilang years na yun, diba? So, yun, since you've paved the way for many Filipinas to compete with the best of the best in both the NCAA and the Olympics, can you talk about how this opportunity came up?
You mean the Olympics?
Both,
Or the US?
actually, when nung NCAA pa lang, kasi yun, that was high school, tapos you were able to get into a US school.
So I never actually planned to go to the US. The plan was to fence for UE in high school and at the same time in college then. Kasi syempre, I worked with Coach Amat. He's been my coach right after nung una kong coach, which is also his brother, Coach Christian. So that was the plan. And then I would always go to this one training camp in Malaysia kasi lagi nila ako ini-invite and they would cover everything. Expenses, lahat talaga. And my senior year, luckily, the head coach of Penn State was invited in that training camp na I usually go every year. So, ayun, nandun lang siya, and then he saw me fencing, and then apparently, I think that year they were looking for more women's foil because they didn't have any one yet, or graduating na yung mga women's foilers nila. So, yeah, he saw me fencing, and then right after the camp, he came up to me and then was like, what do you think about coming in the US? So, ako naman parang, I'm not sure. Kasi nga, syempre, unexpected opportunity siya eh. So, yun, ang bilis ng pangyayari. Tinanong niya ako kung gusto ko pumunta. And then, of course, like, parang ano lang eh, parang medyo may konting thought lang. And then, I think after a few seconds, I said yes right away. I was like, why not? Of course, I would come. And yeah, then everything just like fall into places.
Wow, that's intense. And I think like maybe when you were like saying that you were not sure because you were only 17 siguro that time, right? Like about
Yes, I was
to get into
17.
college. So it's so overwhelming then. Pero like yun nga, you were able to make the NCAA championships, which is also a big feat like sa freshman year pa lang. So what were like the adjustments that you had to make in NCAA, and how did you like get into the rhythm then?
So like I just said, everything was unexpected. So even um the SAT, studying for everything, lahat ng requirements, um I had to prepare within a 6 months period. So and then COVID happened. So dapat pupunta ako fall 2020. So I had to defer because everything was shut down. So walang appointment sa embassy. So wala pa akong visa around August kasi nga lahat sarado. So I had to defer a semester. And I actually thought it was a sign for me not to come kasi syempre COVID, 'di ba? But I took that chance. And yeah, when I arrived, it was a bit harder because everyone in my batch came fall semester. So they came August. So they came before me, all of them. So I was basically the only one in like that situation, like meeting everyone, getting to know the place, the training, and the environment. So it was a bit harder the first month or two, but at the same time, everyone was just like, welcoming. Everyone was so nice and kind, and the coaches treated me like a family the moment I stepped in the gym. So that made a lot of difference, and yeah, it was a hard, I think, only for a month. And then I warmed up. And then I think the best part of being in the team is just like training with them every day. And sobrang nagustuhan ko kasi talaga the fact na 10 minutes walk, nasa training hall na ako. So I would train twice a day from Monday to Friday, and then would do extra pa hanggat kaya ko talaga kasi wala nang pagod sa traveling eh. So, ayun po.
Wow, so it allowed you to be so focused in the sport din, 'di ba? Like just
Yes.
training abroad, and I'm sure like that was the one that helped prep you for the big competition in the NCAA. So if Penn State U was like not in your cards, was the Olympics naman like the plan for all this time, especially Tokyo Olympics?
So Tokyo Olympics, of course, like I wanted to become an Olympian ever since. So yun talaga yung dream. That's the goal. I wanted to reach it. But I never actually had like a definite plan or like a specific time when it's gonna come or kung kailan siya mangyayari. So I would always take just like one step at a time. So for Tokyo Olympics, I think I was very young and I wasn't really ready for it yet. Pero I was really close. So nung Olympic qualifying, I got bronze. And then there were some a few bad calls as well na called by the referee. But yeah, right after the tournament, syempre may panghihinayang, may regrets, but at the same time, I felt I wasn't ready. And then when I felt that I could actually do it because I was really close and it's really possible for me to do it, then I kind of thought of maybe I could make it to the 2024 Olympics. So I tried my best every day, just like every day, like no matter what, I always give more than 100% every time I'm in practice. And of course, every tournament as well. I wanted to be ready every time because I always want to compete at the highest level I could. So that's like my goal every time I compete. So that was just my preparation for the whole time. And I would take, one step at a time, preparing for each tournament that comes. SEA Games, Asian Championships, and the World Championships. So, ganun lang po, one step at a time lang talaga. But then I got injured in 2023, a year before the Olympics and the Olympic qualifying. So, I actually thought I wasn't gonna make it. So, medyo, ano na, ready ko din yung sarili ko mentally na it's fine. there's still gonna be another chance, but then it happened. So
Yeah, and because like not only you made it to Olympics, but also another Filipina fencer, si Maxine Esteban, was able to make it to
yes,
the Paris Olympics. So what does it say about Philippine fencing?
it says a lot actually because we both started here in the Philippines. We were, I think, we were trained here, so we were trained in the Philippines. So our roots are just really strong for us to actually make it to the Olympics. So, um, you know, like my stereotype na fencing is such an expensive sports and things like that. Um, pero I think we have the skill to actually um make more Olympians. Ayun.
Yeah, and being an Olympian, and both of you also studied in very good schools, then performed well on their academics, and also performed really well on your sport. So, can you talk about also your values as a student athlete that you want to impart to the next generation?
I think since I started fencing very young, I'm able to manage my time really well, and I set my priorities straight. So, um, high school pa lang, I already accepted the fact na I would miss, hanging out with my friends. I would miss birthdays, occasions, important occasions sometimes with my family. But it is because I have a priority. It's not because I just want to miss, those things. And yeah, like I think um the discipline is really important, but also everyone like builds builds that through experience. And um yeah, managing my time well, being disciplined, and especially listening to my coaches, and um just like everyone that has more experience more than me, I always take their opinions, their suggestion. Yeah.
And it's really about prioritizing both your sport and your academics and
Mhm.
showing that it can be done, diba?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but and also part of being an athlete kasi syempre you also mentioned it already, it was your injuries, then you also have all these other things that you have to fulfill with your academics. So how can you talk about the current status also of your injury and how are you managing it?
hmm So 2023 was the first time I tear my ACL. It was at the Southeast Asian Games in Cambodia. So I I tear it May, and then I had to, I think I had my surgery. Yeah, I had my first surgery June. Sorry, because I had the second one as well
Yeah.
last year. So medyo it's confusing. Um, yeah, so I had 10 months to prepare for the Olympic qualifying, and usually the ACL protocol is 10 to 12 months, and then 10 months you return to sports. Not to return to compete, you return to sports. So talagang namadali yung recovery ko. Um, but at the same time, I didn't really complain because I did want to try. And yeah, so I was just patient enough with myself. I would take things one day at a time, and every time, I start to um, lift weights or do an exercise that I couldn't do because of the injury. So I would take that as a victory. So talagang one step at a time na, and I was patient enough with myself and my own timing. And injuries happens a lot to all the athletes. Kasi syempre, I mean, we don't abuse our bodies, pero talagang the intensity of training every day, and for most of the time, as much as we want to get enough sleep, enough rest, we don't really get it that often. Kasi nga, syempre, we're used to pushing ourselves through our limits. So, medyo normal yun when it comes to athletes. Um, but yeah, the whole recovery was really smooth the first time it happened, but at the same time it was rushed. So I wasn't really fully recovered during my first injury. That's why it happened at the Olympics. So I re-tear my ACL again at the Olympics. But this time though, right after the Olympics, we took our time. Talagang tinapos namin the whole 10 months of recovery, and then I returned to sport. Medyo maaga, like around 9 months. And yeah, and right now I'm fully cleared to fence again, to
Oh,
train with the team and to compete. So I'm very, very, very excited.
wow, that's so good. And the second time you tore it, was it the same knee?
Yes, it was the
And
same.
then
And I
did you
was
have to,
able,
and did you have to go for surgery again?
yeah. So it happened during my first match at the Olympics. I was down 7-4, and then I heard something pop again in my knee. So the same exact feeling. But thank God I was wearing a brace at that time. So I had a functional brace inside my fencing uniform. So I think that was the reason why I was able to fence still time.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, how did you like just push through that siguro? Because I mean, that could have like affected you mentally also during your match, diba?
Mhm. For some reason, I just forgot about it. I think adrenaline na din. But I thought I knew there was something wrong with my knee because from time to time it would buckle talaga. So and then I couldn't move. Um, you know, normally while I was fencing, but it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. And yeah, I wanted to fence even though it was there, even though I knew I something happened with my knee. I didn't want to give up. Like I still wanted to, show that I could fence even with one ACL. Even, yeah.
Yeah, but and also as an athlete, you've been training so long for to be in the Olympics, and the Olympics, like, and honestly, it's just a very short match, diba? And a moment compared to the huge journey and preparation. Then yes, and also like because like related to pain, then so another pain that we women athletes experience is also like our own the pain from like women's health, which is like from menstrual cramps and dysmenorrhea. And so do you have any experience where like these and the menstrual symptoms have really affected you in your training and competition as a female athlete?
Yes, so growing up, lahat kami magkakapatid. We got it from my mom na talagang grabe yung pain. So we experienced really bad cramps to the point na my sister would faint in classes dahil sa sobrang sakit talaga ng pain. But for me, thank God hindi naman gano'n kalala, pero talagang masakit pa din. So there would be times na hindi talaga kaya, na I would miss practice and rest muna sa bahay. And yeah, I just listen to my body kung kaya ba or hindi. But usually talaga I try to ease the pain, and then I realize na doing something, working out, light workout could actually help to ease the pain for some reason. I don't know how. But yeah, but because usually in practice, before practice, I would be in so much pain, and then once I'm in practice, I don't feel it anymore. Siguro syempre like the focus is not there anymore. But yeah, and then for most of the time, syempre kapag hindi na kaya, I would take pain reliever like medical. So yun talaga yung ginagawa ko usually.
Yeah, and it has it helped, especially na you have a tournament, you have a match coming, and sometimes we can't help it, diba? That it just falls on the day.
Mhm. Yes, yeah, syempre it helped so much. So much, syempre. Um, syempre, pag may competition or even sa training it's so hard not to focus on the pain. But at the same time, you can focus on that because you have a tournament. So it helps talaga. So it's really important to always have it ready in our bags. I usually have a med kit that I bring in practice and in competition, just in case talaga na I would need it.
Yeah, and also there are so many developments in women's health right now. So there's really a lot of resources. And being an athlete, competing and training in the U.S., like, are there any like new ways to be able to manage the pain then and even the symptoms?
So, with that, I usually just like go with what works for me. And yun yung ginagawa ko na ever since nung lumalaki ako in the Philippines. So I would just like do hot compress and would take pain reliever. But at the same time, I'm really careful sa mga pain relievers. Because I think it's just like, kasi athlete ako eh, so I'm used to kind of being in pain. Kasi syempre pag mahirap yung training. So as much as possible, I would try to ease the pain. And yeah, and doing hot compress, doing some stretching, especially like I would look up in Google and and YouTube like the stretches that like could help ease the pain. And yun lang, and then usually it works for me, and I keep that routine every time
Yeah,
it's the
and
time
as
of the month.
yeah, and as a high performance athlete also, 'di ba, it's part of the process also to be declaring like all the medicine that you take. So for you like taking like pain relievers, like it can be done, right? Like to be able to still compete, because there's some athletes who are just scared to, they just don't take pain relievers anymore because they're scared about like getting tested and all that.
Yes, yes, definitely. And as long as you declared it, I don't think anyone will have a problem with it. And based on my experience, I never had problems with it. And for most of the time, I would take a pain reliever whenever I can't take the pain anymore. So yeah, it definitely can be done. It can be done.
Yeah, and also in the Philippines, there are just a lot of myths, diba, when it comes to women's health, when you're having your period and all that, na bawal ka mag-sports ganun. So like what is your advice naman to young girls to who are confused pa at these kinds of things?
Yes, I think sports can still be done, and even like just like light exercises if they are really scared. But also it's really important to syempre listen to their body, and kung kailangan talaga mag-rest, then you have to rest. But for most of the time, um it's normal, and it's a part of being a woman. And I don't think it should hinder us from doing anything we want. And um yeah, so kung I mean, it's just like the pain, and not everyone actually experience the pain. And I believe a lot of women athletes in um in all of the countries, I don't think they've had problems afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yes. Ah, that's great. Like it's really great to hear it from like an Olympian herself also, right? So for you, like, has the conversation on the menstrual health of female athletes evolved already? And especially because you're in the US where it's just more progressive also. What's your opinion on
Yeah.
it?
Yes, yes, for sure. And I've read this research about um um when we have menstruation like a week before, it affects really our performance. But I actually never paid attention to it. So I that's like actually the one of the things that I want to monitor this upcoming months. And yeah, I think I don't really have strong opinions about it. And I just think in general it is normal. And if we need help, then we ask for help. and we just take all the resources that we need and we have and that we could get.
Ah, all right. Yes, thanks for sharing, Sam, and also, for even like helping us understand more than like how your personal experience then as an athlete and experiencing like yun yeah what us all of us women experience then.
Dysmenorrhea? Ang pain na malala, mawawala with Medical Advance 400. Lala?
Wala.
Unilab yan.
So, going back to fencing naman, like, we just really want to ask your thoughts also on the state of Philippine fencing and how women are, and also, like, are women getting into the sport more now that you and Maxine are, like, Olympians, ganun.
So it's actually very overwhelming and very grateful to see na the fencing community in the Philippines is becoming bigger and bigger. Marami ng clubs around Metro Manila na talaga nag-uumpisa, and then actually right now before leaving not before moving to the US for school, usually lahat kilala mo kasi it's such a small community. Pero ngayon, there are hundreds of not just women, even men talaga na gusto nang i-try yung fencing. So, I think it helps, especially na kami nga ni Max, nakapag-Olympics, and it's so kind of not a very well-known sports now in the Philippines, but I think it's well-known enough for youths to try it. So I'm really, really grateful. I'm really, really, happy to see it. And seeing the fact na also, like, it's not just also, hindi lang siya natatry in, sa mga mayayamang area and things like that. Meron din talaga mga sports program, like, where I started na talagang medyo lumalaki na rin and maraming tumutulong to help kids na magawa yung gusto nila or maitry yung fencing.
Yeah, and in general, when you started fencing when you were younger, was there like a lack of women, or was it already medyo equal na a lot of girls do join fencing?
So actually, growing up, it's usually even kasi we have men's and women's events. So it has to be even for us to be able to, compete in team events. So ever since, we never had problems with that. So, but I think right now, especially since after the Olympics, a lot of, young girls would like to try fencing or would like to know what is fencing. So it's really exciting to see it.
And also, you also mentioned it na there's this stigma that it's yung mayaman, ganon. Was that really like a challenge? Like, just the access to be able to try fencing because it's expensive?
Yes. Totoo talaga kasi the equipment itself is very expensive. Pero for now naman, like, there are a few clubs na would have scholars if you're actually good, and if the coaches see that you are really passionate, then they would look for help to help those people or to help those kids. But yeah, the sport itself is really expensive kasi yung mga gamit pa lang medyo mahal talaga. We have the mask, we have the jacket, and we have the electric jacket as well. And for most of the time, we use a specific shoes, and medyo mahal talaga yung gamit ng fencing. And at the same time, there are only a few coaches na may knowledge about it. So yeah, but there are a few sports clinic around Quezon City, specifically the QC fencing team around District 1. So they offer free fencing training, and may mga donation din ng mga gamit na pwedeng magamit ng mga bata. So, um, that's where I started. So, before nung bata ko talaga naghihiraman na kami, the mask, the jacket. Pero syempre part yan ng experience and I would never trade that experience for anything.
Yeah, I was about to ask kung is it like in other sports, 'di ba? Nagre-rent na lang ng gamit ganon. Pero that's wild na naghiraman na ng mask, 'di ba? But then until now, is it still like that, or are there other actually sponsors or groups that have come in to actually donate these kinds of equipment to like the local government?
So, as I was saying, there are clubs. We have a few clubs now here in Metro Manila. So, for most of the time, mayroong mga donations from those clubs, and then also some of may mga nagdo-donate din talaga na public sectors sa in that specific sports clinic. But since ngayon medyo madami na sila and maraming talagang gusto mag-try ng fencing, I think naghihiraman pa rin sila, but of course like kapag merong mga donation, they would give it to kung sino talaga yun nandun, kung sino talaga yun nag-training. But it definitely gotten better for sure.
Yeah, and you also said that parang bigla nang, because there's so many people who want to try fencing, medyo kulang na yung mga coaches. So, are there plans for you in the future to be like giving back to the fencing community in the Philippines, especially with your knowledge and experience din sa mga world level games?
Yes, of course. Actually, I'm not sure if I would want to become a coach, but definitely right now, while I'm still fencing, the next goal that I have is to host like bunch of training camps whenever I would visit Philippines. And before, because my sisters are also fencing, we dreamed of having our own fencing club, syempre, to give back and to share our knowledge, to share our experience, and hopefully, who knows, maybe pwedeng mangyari yun. But definitely, the next goal I have is to host a bunch of training camps for the kids in the Philippines.
Oh, when's the next time you're coming back?
So I'm coming back after the Southeast Asian Games this December, and there's a plan to host a fencing training camp around December. We don't have a definite time yet, pero it's in the plan for sure.
Oh, you definitely have to let us know. We'll be there to cover it as Atleta Filipina.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I would love that.
Yeah, and 'di ba sakto also like after the SEA Games, it's December, and then you get to spend time with your family before you go back to Penn State, right? So siguro like just ask like aside from, so for the SEA Games, I'm sure you're training for it then. But what else is like next in line for you?
So I'm actually preparing for my first international tournament back since the Olympics. I'm preparing for World Satellite Tournament in Amsterdam on September 28th. So I'm actually going to New York tomorrow to apply for a visa. So hopefully that will go smoothly. So yeah, so that's gonna be my first tournament, and I'm very, 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 very excited to compete. And yeah, and we're gonna start our fencing season here in the US for NCAA this October. So we'll have preseason tournaments and a few meets on November and December, and our actual NCAA is on March. So yeah, before SEA Games, I would have a few tournaments here in the US and a few international tournaments as well. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Wow, that's amazing. Your calendar is booked at the last half of the year. And how could Filipinos support you?
So we have fencing tournament website, which is the Fencing Time Live. So usually the results are there. And for most of the time, I would also post something.
Oh, this is
Like
the
before
US
and after.
NCAA results, right?
Yeah, and even international tournaments, usually we would have it in the fencingtimelive.com.
Fencing Time Live. Dot
Yeah.
com.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. And it's good because like a lot like when I was a reporter, like there were just so many websites that like it's always so difficult to get like access to
Live
results, right?
results.
So but thank you always Sam for also posting about your updates so that we get to really see like what's going on in your life also. It really helps us, especially na there's also a demand na rin for fencing, and it helps then with the representation. So thank you for what you do. And now we actually are moving on to the Atleta Filipina rapid fire segment. So if you're wondering what this box is doing here, so it's actually a box full of random questions which I'll be pulling out, and you'll be answering. You have to answer as fast as you can, like whatever is
Okay.
like on top of your head. But don't worry, like they're supposed to be like fun and light questions lang naman. So are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So your first question is, if you could host any sports related event in the Philippines, what would it be?
Any sports related? Syempre fencing competition.
What is like that fencing competition that could be hosted in the Philippines?
I think I would host definitely a kids tournament, like an under 12, and it's gonna be open for everyone who would wanna try it. So even if you have no experience, it's nice to, have a view or to experience the sport. And maybe we could, attract more youths to actually try fencing.
I love that. Sana meron ka rin for over 30. Just kidding. Para makasali ako, joke. Okay. The next question. Ayun, what would you tell a young Filipina who's being discouraged from pursuing sports?
I would just say, just don't be afraid to try and try and try. And I think you'll never see what's coming if you don't actually try. So just try to do what you want. And I learned from experience to not listen to any kind of, like, not anyone. Of course you have to listen to your parents or sa mga nakakatanda sa iyo, but if you actually want to try it, in order for you to see and experience it and then you have to, like, take that leap and actually try it.
Yeah, I agree. Like this is why Atleta Filipina exists. We also want to get girls into sports, and there's always space for women in sports no matter what their age is. Okay, next question. Oh, what is your pre-game ritual and how did this become your ritual?
So my pre-game ritual would be just really praying and, and thanking God for, every opportunities um that comes to me. And I always pray that whatever happens, it's for sure what I deserve. And I just always, thank the Lord for all the blessings that I receive. And yun lang talaga, being, like, having the faith before a tournament is has helped me, like, ever since. So that's usually before and after, and even during, I always pray. And I
Yeah.
always.
Yeah, we all need that peace talaga when we pray. Okay, last question. Um, okay, what's the hardest part about being a female athlete that people don't talk about? And if you haven't shared it in the podcast.
I think the hardest part is, like we mentioned, yeah, like having like our monthly periods, because not everyone gets the experience and not everyone has the same experience when it comes to having it. And I think one more thing is usually comparing, our strength to men. That's kind of a typical stereotype, I feel like, na kapag like we don't have the same strength, so it's not comparable technically. But I think the main thing is yeah, having the monthly period is really hard, and for most of the time we have to ease the pain in order to go through our day, go through our routine. But that's part of being a woman, and I think it's kind of one of the beautiful things that we experience. Yeah.
Yeah, women are so strong. Amazing. Okay, to wrap up the episode, can you share an encouragement to all our listeners and viewers?
So I would just say be patient upon reaching whatever you are reaching, and trust your timing, and don't ever compare your growth to other people. And yeah, just be patient with yourself. And every day I always remind myself to just be better than I was yesterday. And with that, I think patience and trusting your timing and waiting for the right timing to come, everything will actually fall into places.
Yeah. Aw, thank you, Sam. Thank you for sharing your stories, especially the challenges that you had to go through, but also like the historic milestones that you have achieved for Philippine fencing. So, to all our listeners and viewers, please follow Sam Catantan and also follow us at Atleta Filipina on our social media accounts to catch more She Speaks episodes and features on our Filipina athletes. This season is co-presented by Medical Advance para sa dysmenorrhea na malala, lala to wala in as fast as 5 minutes. Again, I'm Bigo and thank you for tuning in. Bye!